Hi, so this video is for the seniors, and this is for your first quiz of your third unit, which is 3.1.4. And the title of this unit is The Colonizers and the Colonized. And it talks about colonialism, the idea that one culture had the moral obligation to go out in the world and spread their culture to other cultures that were inferior to theirs, and thereby make the world a better place, so they thought. So colonialism is when people from one culture or country move into another and try to change things. And when that happens, power struggles result. This doesn't just happen in a large scale of one country moving to another country. This also happens on a smaller scale as well, with one person trying to boss somebody else around, for example. You're going to be reading, before you take this quiz and throughout this unit, you're going to be reading some works that have to do with colonizing. Before you take this quiz, you're going to be reading an excerpt from Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift. And while you're reading, it's a good idea to think of questions that the text might answer as you go along. When you do this, it helps focus your attention, it helps improve your understanding, and it helps prompt you to find important ideas in the story. So, while you're reading, ask questions and make predictions. And when you're reading, or when you're watching a movie, when you're absorbing any sort of media, you're going to be predicting and thinking of things without even really consciously being aware of it. So you make predictions based on things like the title, the topic. If it's a movie, you make predictions based on the trailer, on the topic, the genre, and also, if you're aware of it, the work's context. For example, a book that was written in 1955 will be written in a different context than the book written today. People back then thought about, like, it was just after World War II. People were worried about like being invaded, being bombed, things like that. They might have like universal ideas that are similar with that everybody thinks about, but the context in which work was created affects how it was received by the people at the time, and the attitudes of the author. So anyway, your questions as you're reading can help to clarify confusing points, track main ideas, and notice details, and also make connections. So before you take the quiz, you'll read a part of Gulliver's Travels where he goes to a land where horses are in charge. And you're going to see their name as you are reading through the material that leads you up to the quiz. I'm not going to say their name. It's, well, I probably mispronounced it, but it's like, anyway, it starts with an H, and it's hard to pronounce. But anyway, the chapter is about the horses are in charge. And the horses are civilized, and they take care of these hideous creatures that are just ugly and monkey-ish. And Gulliver is astonished when he realizes that these creatures are actually human beings. They're animals in this society that is run by civil, intelligent horses. Now, Jonathan Swift wrote Gulliver's Travels to be a satire. So he wrote it in a time when imperialism was this big thing in Great Britain. The people from England believed that their ideas were superior to the rest of the world, and so they needed to go out and spread their philosophies to make the world a better place. He disagreed with this type of thinking. And it comes through in his story. So before you take the quiz, I want you to watch the video about the historical context of imperialism and colonizing. So I probably should explain what satire is. You may know, but just to define it, satire is a way of making fun of societal flaws, or human flaws, in an attempt to make people think about the way that they think. Because Jonathan Swift wanted people to read this book and not just be entertained, but start thinking and think, maybe there's something here. Maybe I need to have a paradigm shift and start thinking about things in a different way. That was kind of his idea behind what he was doing. So anyway, also, I want to remind you what situational irony is. And remember, irony is where the opposite of what you expect happens. And situational irony that Gulliver experienced was when he saw these horses acting civil, and he saw these creatures over here, and he came to realize that the creatures were human, like himself, but they were acting like beasts. Also, I want to remind you about connotation and denotation. Denotation means the literal meaning of a word, and connotation means its implied meaning. When he sees one of these beast-like humans and realizes it's a human, he refers to it as a perfect human. I saw it and it was a perfect human. Now, the denotation of that word when he was writing it in that time, it was like, I just came out of a perfect storm, meaning the denotation is like perfect, meaning it was this big old, it was absolutely a storm. And connotation, the word, the way it's used in the sentence, it connotes that it was a human being, perfect like me. Maybe I'm not explaining it very well. Hopefully, as you read, it will explain the connotation of the word perfect and the denotation of the word, especially in the way he uses it in that sentence. But anyway, Gulliver learns a lot throughout his travels. A lot of movies just show him interacting with the Lilliputians, but he interacts with the Lilliputians, the Brobdingnagians, the horses, I forget what else, but he learns a lot on these travels, and he realizes he starts out acting like a typical English person with it. Here's the way we do things, and isn't it superior to all these, to your way of doing things? And the people and the creatures he interacts with are like, yeah, I think I don't like your way. But anyway, Jonathan Swift wanted us to think about things. His theme, I believe, is that it's a good idea to look at yourself honestly and not be a narcissist, because that can lead to all sorts of problems like colonizing and taking over people and not even trying to figure out what their culture is like and have a fair exchange. But hopefully that will help you seniors with your quiz, your first quiz of Unit 4, 3.1.4.